We're live. It's Sam and Paul and Pat, and Lara is, I think, trying to join us soon. She's having some technical issues. Let's start with, I think, Pat, you were first in. Should we start with you? How are things going with you?
Sure, good. Yeah, so the usual. I walk into a diner, I always order the usual. But anyway, Met Plus, review, merging, fixed a bug in seeds. We were actually creating jobs for a company that was in pending registration mode in the seed file, which doesn't make any sense. I had a small, short pair programming session with Paul. Paul, I've seen your notes. We can talk about that also when you report in. On SHF, did a little bit more back and forth on FibBuild Tracker with Ashley in particular on design, things like that. We're getting ready for a client meeting today, which is going to be good. We have some good questions queued up for them.
Great.
And WikiEd, we had a good Scrum yesterday. And that's about it for me. No blockers, of course.
Fantastic. Thanks, Pat. Let's go on to Paul. How are things going with you, Paul?
Yeah, quite well. I'm looking at a story on NetPlus. It's to do with removing an unused attribute in job applications. But when you remove it, a number of the aspect tests fail. So I'm going to look into that as to why that was. But in digging into it, and also Patrick confirmed that the particular functionality hasn't been implemented yet, the functionality that's being tested, for an alternative job developer to submit the job application on somebody's behalf. So I guess, well, my question is around that, because the attribute has been added to the instance of job application, but it's not persisted in the database. And maybe it should be, particularly if that functionality is going to be implemented and we're going to test it as it is going to be, then maybe that's what we should start with.
Yeah, Paul, can you hang out a little bit after the Scrum then to look at that?
Yeah, okay.
So there is, as Paul said, an attribute that is associated with an instance of job application, but it's not persisted. And from what I can tell on first glance, it looks like it's there just to assist with test object creation. So we have this extra thing that we throw into the test object to facilitate testing. However, Paul's looking at it, and there may be a case where we actually use it for production code, not just test code. So that's an interesting observation, Paul. We need to look at that. I may be wrong that it's only used for testing, that attribute. So yeah, if you can, let's look at that after Scrum.
Okay.
Great stuff. Anything else blocking you at all, Paul?
No.
Great stuff. Thanks for the report. And Lara is here. Hey, Lara, how are you doing? Unfortunately, no audio from Lara. I don't know if, Lara, you want to... the thing that always catches me out is the microphone plug. Like sometimes I'm turning everything else and I'm like turning the office upside down, replugging and everything, and it's just the microphone plug that's not quite in. Feel free to give us an update in the text chat. I will go ahead and give my update. I had a good busy day yesterday. I went out to a meeting in the morning called Networked City, which seems to be, well, it's an initiative, I guess, by different charity organizations in London who are sort of digital charity groups. The meeting was actually at City Hall, and the Deputy Mayor of London was there and talking to us. And yeah, I met quite a lot of interesting folks, actually. In particular, one group who are called KindLink, and they are already doing one of the things that we sort of were talking about doing with the government's database of charities, which is trying to, like, parse that and process that. And they might have an API which we could use. So that's a very interesting development for the local support project. And I was also speaking to like different volunteer service groups from different boroughs, one of whom who was quite interested in what we did. I mean, it's it could be an interesting lead generation thing. And I've joined their networked community Slack, and yeah, we will see. I'd love to present, Agile Ventures and some of the things that we've been doing at some of their future events. So that was positive. I then went on and had a lunch with a guy who's got an educational software company who has a closed source project that he's looking for people to work on, and I'd been recommended to him. So I can tell in the first instance that it's not open source is not going to be the way to go for him, and maybe in the longer run. It's an interesting project. I just getting that sweet spot of people paying us to do open source stuff within Agile Ventures is challenging. There's anyway, but an interesting conversation. And then anything else to update from my side? We're just still catching up with admin from having been away, and then this morning, focusing on trying to get Aresh's new bot seems to be working well, and I would like to get that out and running in all the channels. So we're just wrangling with the deploy on that. So I'll probably be working on that immediately after this session. Also hoping to try and get to some writing to try and finish my first sample chapter of the book, Agile Methods for Open Source Projects. So there we go. Other news, we're going to be trying to have, I think I mentioned already, new Website 1 kickoff meeting on Friday. The usual, I'll probably push off local support client meeting until next week, and the usual Autograder client meeting tomorrow. Oh, and mob programming in about 4 hours from now. Lara, how are you doing? Do we have any? Let's see how your audio's going. Unfortunately, it seems like your audio's not going. Obviously, very frustrating. Do feel free to update us in the text chat. And keep trying. I guess that's our Scrum. Anything that anybody can think of to add that we need to be addressing?
Well, for Laura, hopefully you can hear me. We were going to try to connect up after this and talk through that story on finalizing the footer. If you could, so I changed that story a little bit since we communicated yesterday. If you could take a look at that story, I put a link in the chat here. And maybe we can go back and forth on comments in that story. Yeah, it'll take you 5 minutes if you agree. If not, I mean, we can. Oops. So I guess she's gone. Anyway, I'll connect up with her on Slack directly then.
Sure. Yep.
One of the questions I had, the AdWords that are targeting charities that are looking for IT work, for development work. Any hits on those? Any significant activity there yet?
I have had, since we've started doing that, I've had 3 emails, although to that email address that is effectively the way that people would get in contact if they wanted that work. They've all been from people looking to work for us as software developers. Not. I mean, I've then redirected all those people and say, hey, you could get involved with Agile Ventures and redirected them to the main site. But yes, no nibbles in that direction yet. Which reminds me of something else I was going to add is, so we've sorted out all the payments with Wikimedia EDU. You, Pat, have everything. You have a plan, people, and everything you need. Is there anything? There's nothing blocking you, or anything that you anticipate blocking you in terms of delivering on our contract with Wikimedia?
No, not at all. I can't do the Scrum today, but Sage will have to do that. But anyway, hopefully that's not a problem. Okay, the other thing I wanted to ask is about, you remember we talked about the front page?
Yes.
For Agile Ventures, and if you're not signed in as a contributor, excuse me, as a paying member, you see this thing about there's this Scrum called Martin Fowler or whatever.
Sure.
Don't understand. You know, we talked about that kind of being more of a call to action.
Yep.
So where are we at with that?
We're at with that is that issue has been created, and yes, that's kind of sort of next on my priority to work on. So I mean, we're going to be having this kickoff thing. I mean, it's the kind of thing, it shouldn't be too difficult to change to make. So it's just waiting somebody wanting to make that change. So anybody who wants to get involved in helping make that change, do jump in, do contact me, or jump in on the Website 1 meeting tomorrow. I'm also quite invested in making that change change happen. I get the feeling we've got large numbers of people coming in and joining as a result of the AdWords campaign. And I think my intuition at the moment is that we're getting, we're increasing our membership base, and there's new people coming in, there's new people filtering into Slack. We're not doing very much with those people at the moment to sort of reach out to them and kind of encourage them in to get involved in the other things. So if we go back to that funnel discussion that we had, we've kind of we've made it so that the funnel is wider at one end, but we are not. We've got to move down the funnel if we're going to see the benefits of that all the way through the system. So,
yeah, okay. So when is that call tomorrow?
We're going to do that off the back of the Kent Beck Scrum tomorrow. So depending on who turns up for this Kent Beck Scrum, it will either just be the Kent Beck Scrum or go on after it. I may create like a separate repeating website one kickoff event going forward. We're sort of experimenting with a new flow to see if we can reliven the project.
Okay. One other thing for you. The document that Getting Started, I think it's called, something like that. But anyway, it's got a listing of active projects with people to contact in that doc. I was thinking about it in a table, which is listing of key technologies in use for the active projects. So people could have one place to go to and say, oh yeah,
sure,
there's a React project. That's what I want to learn. Let me focus on that.
Yeah.
So I think it would be helpful to have that rather than people poke around on the AV site, project by project. Yeah. So does that sound like a decent idea? Okay, so I'll put together a PR.
That sounds like an excellent idea. Excellent idea. I just want to draw all of your attention, and I know Lara knows this, is that this page is editable by anybody in the community. So you could just go straight in there and edit that, Pat, and you'd have my total blessing for doing that. Lara has just been into the premium page and re-edited it and reorganized it based on what we've been discussing in marketing, and I think has really improved this. There's I think further to go if we can adjust the site to make it all sorts of things change. But yeah, this Getting Started page. Thomas suggested a while ago. I made some updates to it based on what Freelander said, and Thomas was suggesting further. Please do go in there and have a.
Actually, I was talking about a Markdown document that I guess shows up on the wiki or is on GitHub. It's linked probably to our README.
We've got the we've got the Markdown one here. We've got this joining document here, which has got this one.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Adding a table to this document.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Be my guest. Sorry, I was when you mentioned Getting Started, I immediately thought of this. That's something else that's on my mind, is trying to we could sort of wholesale take this content and stick it in here. But yes, by all means, please do put pull requests into this, because this is the link. The link to this is what's being DM'd to everybody who joins our Slack.
Yeah, I noticed. And that's good. So yeah, okay, I will get around to that.
Cool.
And I'll probably ask other project people to go in and add their data into that table once I create it.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, that's our. Oh yeah. And I already mentioned to you, Pat, about rebooting the mentor channel. Now that we've got our history, I think that's our Scrum. I guess unfortunately, maybe Lara, we still don't have audio. Pat was just saying that he would. Oh, I think we can hear you now, Lara. How are you doing?
All right, and you?
Yeah, all the better for hearing from you. I might. Yeah, you're maybe logged in on your phone or something. Yep, that's great. Do you want to give us your report?
Fantastic. Just having sound issues the whole day. Okay, so from my side, I've just been working on client deliveries. I've got a big pitch tomorrow. And then I'm just going to sit with Patrick now just to go through the document for the footer. That's all from my side, no blockers.
Great, wonderful. Okay, that's our Scrum then. I'm going to get back to working with Aresh. Maybe Pat and Paul, you'll create a separate Met Plus Scrum, and Lara will join you and so on and so forth.
Sure. Are you going to continue with this call?
I was going to drop out. That will mean that the broadcast, if you're going to do a hour, obviously feel free to use it for the next 5 minutes or so. If you're just quick coordinating. But otherwise, if you're going to do like a long session, I'd recommend creating a new one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't need much time.
Yeah, I don't think it'll take us much time in either case.
Well, good. I hope that estimate ends up being correct. It's
you know how software estimation goes, right?
oh yeah, it's
always correct.
It's always correct. Excellent. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Bye for now.
All right, bye now.
Okay. See you then.
So, Paul, if you don't mind, maybe Laura and I should talk about the footer first. That'll be really quick.
Okay. Yep,
Famous
sure.
last words, right? Laura, how about if I share my screen? Let me take a look at that. Laura, you may still be having audio issues.
Yeah.
Not sure.
You know what
I
I'm
can
going to do? I'm just going to come back in and come back out on my other device. Give me 2 minutes.
Okay, sure. Sounds good. Made up for lack of audio by having 3 times the audio. Let's see. Not that one. Where's the page I wanted to look at? Oh boy. Nope. Okay. So, Paul, you think you found a situation where we actually are using that attribute in production, huh? Okay. So, Paul, while we're waiting for Laura, maybe we should talk about this situation, huh? So, Paul, can you unmute? We should probably just talk about yours while waiting for Laura to come back.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was talking. Yeah, I didn't realise I was muted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The yeah,
So
I think there might be a bug because when I click on National Identity Consultant, it says job applications none.
So let me. So do you go to all the jobs first, and then? Yeah. Okay, let me see if I can find. Does it? Let's see.
Perhaps anyone.
Probably anyone, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll click on this one here, and I go here, and it says I've got a bunch of.
I get it.
Well, I'm saying, does this scenario that you described, does that happen when you remove that attribute from the model?
Yeah, that must be it.
It must be. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So you may have found a reason why that's there. So that is in job application, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's Move that out and go back to this guy. So I still see job application. Let me go back to jobs. Click on one of these. See job applications.
Mm.
So let me reload. So all the jobs get loaded